Welcome to week 10 of Seasonal Anime Survivor. We had a four-way tie last week, and unfortunately, in the random draw of the hat, Shadow's House was voted off. We have three shows left. We have the ever so highly lauded Fumetsu no Anate, or To Your Eternity. We've got Vivy, and we've got Hige Hero still in the pack as the final three shows. We're going to discuss episodes 10 of each of those shows, and then we'll vote one off. So we can get right into it and start with Fumetsu no Anate, episode 10. What was you guys' thought of that episode?
I feel like this one, nothing unexpected happened. Like they kind of set up everything in this episode in the last couple, and it's just paying off finally. The tree monster, Gugu getting his powers, kind of like wrapping up all the character arcs there.
I
Um,
didn't expect him to get old and then just be like a long-term character, or I'm not sure what they're going where this is going, but it's
yeah, I don't
like
know.
Yeah, I didn't expect there to be a time skip as well.
Yeah, that is interesting. It seems like the character they want to try and develop right now is Fushi and his unwillingness to be part of the fight, whatever is going on there. So that's
Yeah, the
yeah, this
reluctant
could be
interesting.
like
hero.
a strengthening of a bond to make him lose something and it hurt worse or something because he spent longer time with a person. I
Yeah,
don't
or
know.
maybe
Yeah, I can definitely see that coming.
like that monster's gonna come back and they're gonna lose this time, and Gugu's gonna get killed or something fighting it, and it'll be like it's his fault, and so it'll be Fushi's. He's gonna think it's his own fault because he didn't move on the way that the man in the robe told him to.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
what I found weird is like Gugu got older, but Rin didn't. She's just the same. It's
Mm,
she is slightly taller.
Maybe it's just her the way her body is.
like she
Well,
looks
Gugu's.
exactly the same. I was like, did
Also,
she
Gugu
even
might not be that much older. He just like worked out a ton and got jacked.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of the episode. Fitness motivation.
well,
Cause
he's
he had
definitely
a goal
taller.
and worked
Yeah,
toward
yeah,
it.
his helmet
Yeah,
fits better now.
yeah,
But
that's one hell of a ghost fight.
mm-hmm. So I'm. It seems like they're just like chilling, and they've been chilling for several years now. So like,
Also, the fire was like way more than I expected. That was like firebender level ridiculous. It wasn't just like, oh, a little bit of alcohol creates a flame. It was like dragon's breath.
explosion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was like for just being alcohol, that was a little ridiculous. I was not expecting
yeah.
it to be
His
that powerful.
yeah, Gugu's fire breathing powers are a bit exaggerated, but like,
Yeah.
but that's the thing about the show. Just like everything else we've seen so far, like with the exception of like Fushi and the Man in the Robes and the Tree Monster and the explicitly magical stuff, like all of the human stuff is just people. Like it's not like anything like crazy fantasy actual magic. Like it's a bit of a stretch to have like a giant polar bear or to have like a kid who can breathe fire, but they try and ground it. So I kind of
Yeah.
appreciate that. It's like they keep the mystic elements mystic and they keep the human element human.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're lingering here. I don't know. This arc
Yeah,
is
it's been
like
kind
I
of
think
long.
what's weird is I like the characters, but for some reason I just don't like the general where we are,
I
if
think
that
it's
makes
just
sense.
because you're not used to the way this story is being told.
I think it's just it could be paced a little better. Like the last 3 or 4 episodes, like I'd say the last 4 episodes could have been told in three, maybe. Like it could be going a little bit quicker.
Like the March story was pretty quick and it was good, and there was
Exactly.
always
Yeah,
there was all you're always like, oh, here's the next thing that happens. With this one, it's like
they're
I need a
kind of just hanging
long
around.
backstory
Yeah,
for Gugu, a very long Gugu backstory. That's
and they
sort of
retreaded it a lot. They could have. I feel like they could have taken a single episode out of this whole arc, and we would have been like keeping up pace with what we've seen so far.
yeah. You it could have been one less episode.
I feel like that's really the only big complaint I've had so far with the show is the pacing. Sometimes it's moving pretty damn fast, and sometimes it's just like dragging and taking his time.
Yeah, it is a 20 episoder, so maybe they just. Well, I don't even know if it's like planned to end or if like
Oh, is
it's.
it a
I don't know
20
how long.
episoder?
Yeah.
Okay, that explains why they're taking their time. But still, that's
Yeah.
like, let's keep the story going, folks. I guess they're trying to avoid filler later in the season, but they could have just
Yeah, I
made
don't
it
know how long
shorter.
the
I
source
don't know.
material is and
Yeah,
like how things line up or any of that.
Hmm.
but either way, I will say that the characters in this arc are the most enjoyable so far.
Yeah, they're good characters. So it's just for
Yeah.
some reason, like what is happening
And
isn't
Fushi's
interesting
getting
to me.
character development, which is nice.
Yeah, he's finally like, well, he can talk and
Yeah,
everything now.
and he's starting
So
to come into being a person. So
And going in his own personality.
yeah, I'm guessing by the fact that like in the end there he was like starting to grow a beard. He must have been in like the that
he must have been
human.
like 14, 15 in the boy, and now the boy is like 17 or
Yeah, I
something.
have
I
to
don't know.
assume he hasn't
That's my
shapeshifted ever
guess.
since because
Yeah, because like I'm thinking like the boy's original age is must have been like 15, maybe.
yeah,
I don't
so he's
know.
gonna be like 16, 17, 18 now. But
I think it's been like 2 years at least.
okay,
How
yeah,
much
yeah,
Gugu got way taller. I don't know.
yeah.
It's got to be at least 2 years.
But that just makes me think this whole time he hasn't shapeshifted once because otherwise he would have his age would presumably have reset. So he's been in the like the form of the boy
Oh,
for
I wonder.
this
I didn't think
whole
about it that
time.
way.
Yeah,
Or maybe all of his forms age. I don't know.
I
It's not sure.
doubt it because it's
Yeah, he's
his forms
immortal,
seem to
isn't he?
like it seems to always take the condition they were in when he originally got them. Like the wolf has a little like cut on its leg, and every time he turns into it, he has that. The bear's full of
Hmm.
spears, and the spears are always
He
there
has
every
to
time
have
he takes
changed
it.
at least once in all this time
I
because
don't
he
think
regularly would
so.
just he would regularly switch to the dog just for random reasons, right?
Yeah, I think he's trying to become more human, and so he just wanted to pick a form and stick with it.
Hmm.
And it was that or March. So,
Poor March.
oh, poor
Not
March.
always
Gone too
shifted for
soon.
boy form.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
Not like March's alive anymore.
Mm-hmm. So, do we
Okay.
have any other thoughts on this episode of this show?
No, it's just has its comfy moments, and I'm here for it.
Yep. Okay, we can move on to Hige Hero, the 10th episode.
So this was just like getting ready for her to go back. I feel like as much stuff happened in the last one. Not a lot happened in this one.
Well, we got the story of like the mom's hatred towards Sayu, which is very real. Again, a very realistic, understandable story. That's
Yeah.
that kind of thing happens exactly like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
Or
was
you have a divorce, and then a parent, the mother, will sometimes try to get pregnant and to keep the marriage together, and then you'll have the father try and tell the mother to get an abortion, and then eventually it still doesn't hold things together, and then that can pan out in different ways.
yeah,
But in
this backstory
in
has
this story, it was that she held a grudge against the daughter because she was like a symbol of her own inadequacy, essentially, which is a believable thing. Like I can see
yeah,
that.
this obviously does not endear me to the character of the mom whatsoever, but I
Yeah.
guess it like justifies like, oh yeah, this
Well, I'm
wasn't
not.
like
Yeah,
a
I'm not
one
saying the
time
mother
event.
is
This
good.
is
I'm
more
just
of
saying it
pattern behavior.
explains it. Not.
No, no, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I'm surprised Sayu didn't turn out much worse because she didn't get as much love as she should have from her own mom.
Mm.
So she is
Uh,
lucky in that regard.
she's lucky that she's not. What would be
Like
worse?
completely broken. That she didn't is not shut off from accepting love from any other person.
I mean, she's pretty broken. Like if you
Well,
I
yeah,
think she
but
just
she
has a
can
good
be put
front.
back
If you
whole
actually look
again.
at Sayu, like the way she feels, she's actually quite broken, like as a character. Uh, you
Mm.
don't like I don't really think she's that okay. I mean,
Yeah,
when
I'm
you really
not
look at her
saying that.
story, I think she's externally looks okay, like and puts on a decent front as being okay when actually she's not.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
sort of my
no.
take on her. But then we had all the coworkers being bros, like they all like
Yeah, they all banded together to like get him a
get
day
him.
off.
Yeah. That was cool. I like the
Yeah.
I like the whole work gang. They're like not amazing, but like once you put them all together, it's like oh
Yeah,
they're all
they're all
cool.
they're all right, and
Yeah,
collectively they were fine. That
and I
was a
liked
bit of a
the
mean
guy
fake out of like,
where
oh yeah, she's run away and we can't find her, to like, oh no, she was just coming to visit and her phone was off.
I like the guys one dude that never talks, but he had a good scene in the car where he's like, dude, you're lying to yourself. Stop. Like he like told Yoshida what's up and sort of made him face his own feelings. That was a pretty good little
Hmm.
scene.
Yeah,
And
that
then
was
you had the Asami Hill where
mhm.
uh Yoshida, well, Sayu took Yoshida to the hill that Asami took her to. That was like a nice little scene.
It's the hill where like people talk about their dreams and aspirations.
Yeah.
Yeah, every town's gonna have that spot.
I
Mm.
don't know. I mean I've seen it used as a narrative thing in movies. I don't know if I've been to a place that is a place that is that. I mean I've seen it used in
Yeah, I don't.
fiction.
I've never like gone with someone out into a field to look at the night sky and like talk about the meaning of life and like other existential
Well, I mean
things like that.
I've
But
inadvertently done that, but never like, oh, let's go to this place, the place you go to do that. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
like
I've been
like
outside where it was nighttime and we were in a field and you end up doing that, but I've never like intentionally went to a place to do that, if that makes sense.
mhm.
Yeah, that makes plenty of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I guess there's not much else to say about that. I mean, it's just a
it was good,
the
but it was
episode.
like I feel like all three episodes of all three shows this week, like not a ton of stuff happened, and
mm,
that to their detriment, like is like setting up for the season finales of each of the respective shows, because the ones that are not lasting longer than 12 are coming up on the end, so they gotta like set up for the final 2 episode arcs.
well, speaking of that, we can get right into Vivy because I totally disagree. I think this is a really good episode of Vivy.
Oh yeah,
I have
I
to admit,
agree.
this is my favorite episode of the series so
Like
far.
this was
It was very
really
different.
interesting. Like all I can think of is like nursing home and like you're dying and you're old and your children visit you every year once at a time and you're just living your slow life and things are fading away. That's and that's Vivi is she's in a nursing home and she's getting visited by her children or her relatives once every month or year or however infrequent it is and you
Mm,
lose track of time and
Yeah, years just go by in the flash.
yeah
yeah.
it,
Um, Now here's something I was a little fuzzy on. So the kid who grew up and became friends with her,
Yep.
is he the guy from episode 1?
Yeah, I think he is.
yeah I think that was
Because
like
I
the
thought it was someone else, but I
mic
must
drop
have been
the mic drop
mistaken. But
or
yeah,
no his name was Matsumoto so his name was the name as the AI so it might not be the same guy but he's at least the related to the Matsumoto the teddy bear AI
okay.
because it was the same name.
Mm-hmm.
That was the I used the term mic drop of the episode where like he says his name and you're like oh he said Matsumoto that's the AI that's started came in the very first place was sent back in time to bring Vivy out in the first place
Yeah.
was with that name had his name
Mm-hmm.
or his last name I believe
Yeah.
in any case yeah that's sort of
So he's the one who dies in the beginning of episode 1, where the apocalypse is happening, and he sends the Matsumoto AI back in time.
yeah I don't even
Yeah.
remember what happened in that episode but his name is Matsumoto and but yeah that's the name of the AI so I'm assuming it's that.
Okay. Well, all
But I haven't
right.
rewatched like the
That's
first scene. Didn't remember that. I
yeah.
didn't
I'm
even
gonna have to go
remember a
back and watch
person
that
we saw
again.
die. Yeah. But then, oh, yeah, and she made a song.
She did
That
make a
was
song. We didn't get to
Yeah,
hear the
she
whole
put
thing,
in
but
also of her own free will.
yeah the first AI to make a song that was not a song making AI, which is interesting.
yeah,
It's a
just
concept.
like to to just decide to do it just for creative purposes, like it's just a creative outlet
Yeah, to
instead
express
of
a soul.
yeah, that is an interesting thing they're exploring right now. Yeah, this is
Yeah, that's like the only thing interesting about AI that caught my attention.
yeah, this is odd and interesting because we're at a point in the show right now where, much to my surprise, it's like, oh yeah, it's been years. The threat's over as far as we know. They saved the future, so now what? But
Yeah.
I don't know if the
And
future
then like I
actually is
really liked
saved.
how
We're gonna find out.
the kids at the museum, it was so realistic, just the way they interacted with Vivy. It's like, oh, let's go talk. It was done. All of the interactions with the museum was done very good, to where that's how a kid gets bored. They talk to her for like 3 seconds, ask her to sing, and then she's like, oh, I guess you won't sing, and they're like, oh, bye, and I don't know, just like the whole
Mm-hmm.
everything with the interactions at the museum was done so well, and in
Yeah.
Vivi's perspective was interesting too, and but because she's an AI, it's like she's not. I feel like a human in that situation might feel really down, but she doesn't. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like an interesting angle, and then it makes you wonder like what are all the other AIs? Are they all also just content
I
being at the
guess
museum?
that's she's there of her own free will, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's just interesting like to think about as an idea, and it was explored.
Of like
And
AIs are like sort of people, but like also just cool with just chilling in a museum when their time is come
like
and gone.
yeah, they're it's like oh that just thinking about it historically as an idea is cool. Like oh, is this famous the first big pop idol AI, and she's in the museum, and but that's our first person character that we're following the whole time. So it's like not only is it interesting in this idea, but it's an idea that's implemented through a character you're really familiar with. I don't know, like I feel like that's the kind of thing that might be a background, like maybe in a video game you would play it and then oh there's the AI museum and you talk to the AI, but in this we have lived the life of the AI and then see the reverse perspective, and I think it's
Yeah.
really cool to see the perspective of the thing that is in the museum
Mm-hmm.
is super cool.
And in that way,
Yeah,
that
I
kind
think
of
that's
ties
cool as
in
well.
with her songwriting process of the song trying to be like expressing the feelings of her whole life history. But
Yeah.
that's really interesting. So they kind of, guys, in multiple angles, at exploring that theme of like thinking about your life and all the experiences you've had.
Yeah, I mean, my main note is like it reminds me of like a nursing home. I don't know if that's like the, but
No,
in
that's
like
maybe an
a,
apt analogy, I guess.
it's like made me think about being old and like having people visit you very infrequently and life just being slow.
Mm.
I imagine life would just be faster for me
Hmm.
at that point. Because it's just like zoom, zoom, zoom. Time
Yeah,
lapse
the older
just
you get, the shorter years feel. I can tell you that.
Hmm.
And I can only imagine Vivy there being. What they say was it
I
65
think
years
like
since they
over
met, or
60.
65
Yeah.
years since the last mission?
I think it was. I think she might be 65, and it was 60 years since the last met. I forget.
Okay, I think it was something like that. So
She's
this is
not.
like,
She's not like that old. I mean, she's a age a
well,
human could
yeah, but
be,
well, I
and
mean, she's an AI. She's not gonna like physically age, but
yeah.
yeah, I know what
But
you
it's not
mean.
like she's like 200
Um,
or something. Is what I'm
yeah,
saying. You know?
we got to be coming up really close on the date for the robot apocalypse here.
Yeah, it was 100 years after. So, and then like 20 years passed during this episode. It's like 80 years or so, and so there's like
Yeah,
20 left or so,
yeah, so they're
or
getting like
maybe,
really close. And I bet
or
you
maybe it was
anything,
like 30 years. This
it could have
because
been.
that dude,
Yeah,
yeah, he was like so. Where might be like right at the
yeah, that's very
time.
possible. And we
So it
might
might be like 10 years away or 5 years away at this
yeah,
point.
so
Because if he
we
was 65 and it's been 30 years, that guy looked like he was about 30 from being a kid, but he was already five. So he was already like five, or he was more like 10 actually. And so he could be maybe 30, 40. So yeah, we're probably 10 years away or whatever from the final event.
Yeah, I would imagine the next couple episodes are just going to be an arc devoted to we have reached the future. The date is here. Is it going to happen? And, because it's a fairly actiony show, I would imagine, for the finale. Yes, it is. It's going to, like, something's going to trigger it, but then she's going to stop it at the last second by, like, kicking ass and singing.
And we're gonna have the anime opening moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What happens in the OP?
it's her singing her song.
Oh.
Oh, maybe. Sometimes the theme song's kind of like part of the episode. Like someone's like
Yeah,
singing
so it's like
in the episode and they use that as a theme. Sometimes not. It all depends. I would imagine for the final episode, probably. We're going to get a lot of singing and a lot of like robot kung fu action.
Yeah, and a callback to the first episode. That's gonna be so awesome.
Because we'll be there. So we will have arrived at that time.
Right.
All right, we can move into voting if there's nothing else to be said.
No, let's do it.
Well, we voted, and I have to say I'm not surprised. Unfortunately, Hige had a very good run. I did not expect it to get all the way to rank 3, but it did for this. So we can applaud it on the way out. Good, respectable run. But
Round
the last
of
two
applause.
shows, it's Vivy and To Your Eternity are the final two shows. Those are also, by the public voting on Mal and stuff, also the highest rated. So we have a final showdown between those two shows.
Alrighty, well, that was it. We're down to our final two shows. Come back next week and you can find who is the best anime of spring 2021 on the next episode of Seasonal Anime Survivor. Goodbye, everybody.
Yep. Goodbye. See you next week.